And that ice, Sam, what's the general consensus on course between Courage Under Fire and Shaker Maker tonight?
It's the flip of the coin mentality. It's evenly divided, Nadia. Shaker Maker, he looks as majestic and amazing as he always does. He's my tip. I think if they put the power on in the first quarter and make Courage Under Fire work that little bit harder than maybe we expect him to, then Shaker Maker is going to come down the middle of the track with one of those barnstorming runs. It does look a two-horse race, and they're both very, very good horses. I'm leaning towards Shaker Maker. But as you've seen and pointed out on the tote, at least as far as the Queensland tote is concerned, Courage Under Fire has now firmed into favouritism. There won't be much between them, and nor should there be. I spoke to Brian Hancock. He said, "What are the odds?" I said, "Yeah, pretty much evens each of two," and he said, "Good." Brian Hancock, even though he'd love to win this race with Courage Under Fire, quite obviously, he's thinking about harness racing in general, and he knows just how important this race is for the sport, Nadia.
You're a great follower of harness racing. If you're the driver of either Courage Under Fire or Shaker Maker, what would your tactics be in a situation such as this?
I think Courage Under Fire's plan of attack is pretty simple. I know he's drawn 8, I know he's drawn the outside of the front line, but quite simply, if he goes back at the start, he allows Shaker Maker to get in front of him and then control the race. Brian Hancock can't afford to do that. He has to go forward, he has to chance his arm, he has to hope that they don't make him work over time to get to the lead. If I was John Justice on Shaker Maker, this is a more tricky one, Nadia. Obviously, if I got in front of Courage Under Fire at the start by some fluke, I would want to make sure I went in front of him before he did and made sure he had to sit outside me, but that probably won't happen. It just depends on the tempo after that. John Justice knows, everybody knows, Shaker Maker is a better horse when driven with a sit. However, he can't let Brian Hancock dictate terms and sit back in the field. So if Brian gets to the lead, John's going to have to get going and prove that Shaker Maker is the better horse.
Of course, Courage Under Fire does have to cross them. And does it look to be much pace inside of him?
Plenty of pace, but plenty of pace by horses with the utmost respect have to concede to him. It's just a matter of how many horses try to get that spot first. Horses like Rare Fuel, who does look well and truly outgraded in this race, actually led at its last start at Albion Park. Home for Christmas is a very, very fast beginner. They'll all want to take a sit, but they'll all want to get there first to be able to take a sit, which will put the firepower on early. And that's the key to the race. But there are plenty of horses there with speed to burn, Nadia.
Sam, we're looking at $1.90 each of two on the QNTAB about Courage Under Fire and Shaker Maker. Is there one there at odds which could fill a place there? We're seeing number 3 there, DB Bopper. It's at $15. Is there one there at odds we should be following?
Well, my selections are 9 to beat 8. You couldn't possibly dream of them being split, but to answer your question, DB Bopper's a very, very good horse. He's terribly graded. He's still only an MO. He could be at Harold Park on Friday night, in a $13,000 race, racing, well, by comparison, very, very ordinary opposition. But he's still a very good horse and is a Queensland Derby winner and has seemed to handle the rest of the horses he's racing here tonight, okay at his past couple of starts. If Home for Christmas led out and then took a sit with the run behind the leader, he'd be a place chance. And the talk of Orleans trial here on Monday is very massive. He certainly would be given some kind of chance. Trois Frères not well drawn. He's not going to get a nice trip, but he's consistent enough to also consider as a roughie.
Sam, we're seeing Orleans on the New South Wales TAB at $156. That has to be overs.
Well, on his trial, he's got to be a place chance. Orleans had arrived at Vic Frost's stable with massive raps from Western Australia, and so far in 5 runs for Vic, he's yet to fill a place. So that will change. I'm not suggesting tonight will be the night it changes, but it definitely will be changing in the near future for Orleans. One to certainly keep your eye out for. Hard to imagine where he's going to get to here, but he's certainly got ability.
OK, Sam, thanks for that as they are being called up for the feature out of the Gold Coast. Sam going for Shaker Maker ahead of Courage Under Fire. That's the way it is on the market. 180 2 even about the top 2, 9 and 8. Let's go out to the Gold Coast now. Here's David Fowler.
And as Sky Racing join us, thank you, Nadia. We're 100 metres away from release point. Number 9 is the favourite, Shaker Maker, 180. Most thought Courage Under Fire would run the favourite on Queensland TAB. That's not the case. Number 9, Shaker Maker, 170 now. 8 Courage Under Fire, $2.10. They're set for a start. Stand by. Ready? Racing, Courage Under Fire out wide, began on terms with a great line of speed inside of him, and immediately Justice on Shaker Maker was away from the pegs. They drive into the first corner. Look at DB Bopper go fast. DB Bopper leads on, settling down from Masterson. Rare Fuel is third. Courage Under Fire, Hancock is hurtling around them. He was 4 wide, now he's 3 wide. Soon he'll be 2 wide, and I'll tell you what, in 200 metres I'd say he'd be in front. DB Bopper goes down the back straight. Will he let Hancock go? No, he won't. First surprise, DB Bopper holds the lead. Courage Under Fire eases immediately. Third behind the leader, Rare Fuel and General Jujon going forward. Then came Masterson outside of Easy Campese, followed then by Orleans Home for Christmas. Shaker Maker finds himself second last, and one behind him, Trois Frères, travelling 12 lengths off the speed. That lead time was electric, 34.4. Peter Gregg's on an all-the-way mission with DB Bopper. Racing second, General Jujon. Rare Fuel tucked in behind the speed third, and the little champion Courage Under Fire perfectly positioned by Hancock after they settle down 1-1. Easy Campese's on its inside, and then Masterson followed by Orleans Home for Christmas. By G, Shaker Makers 12 off them. As I spoke, Justice said it's time to go. 3 wide at the 1100 metres, searching after the leaders, and Trois Frères tracks him forward. First quarter only a steady 31.8. They leave the bell behind them. DB Bopper's in front of General Jujon and Rare Fuel. Hancock had a peep around. Brian, there's a horse coming. It's called Shaker Maker. He's got time to get out if good enough. Over on the inside, Easy Campese. Shaker Maker just sitting there. Is he waiting for Hancock to go or not? Then Masterson trapped in traffic, followed by Trois Frères Orleans, and Home for Christmas whipped them in. There they go. Courage Under Fire 3 wide. Went brilliantly. Sat outside DB Bopper and joined him at the 600 metres. Shaker Maker's out after them, but he's 4 wide. Then Masterson, General Jujon, Rare Fuel, followed by Easy Campese, Trois Frères Orleans, and Home for Christmas is last of all. Second quarter was only 33. 64.8 the half. They've gone quicker here. Still DB Bopper in front by a head. Courage Under Fire second. Shaker Maker third and 3 wide. Then Rare Fuel, Masterson, and no use going back any further. DB Bopper running a big race, but Courage Under Fire poked the head in front. Shaker Maker will have the last shot at him at the home corner. 200 left to go. The little champion Courage Under Fire straightened in front. Justice is trying hard with Shaker Maker. Courage Under Fire's in front. Brian Hancock, you've got the first leg of the Grand Circuit. Shaker Maker chasing gamely. Too late, brother. Courage Under Fire beat Shaker Maker. Rare Fuel, I think, third. Then Easy Campese, Home for Christmas, DB Bopper. Followed by, at the head of the others, General Jujon, Masterson, Trois Frères, and a margin to Orleans last of all. The winner is Courage Under Fire, number 8, Brian Hancock. Beating 9, Shaker Maker, John Justice. And will stand by for third and fourth. It will be 1 Rare Fuel, Lola Cundy third. And for fourth, 2 Easy Campese, Wayne Graham.
Wasn't that a race and a half? Courage Under Fire, 2 even, 110. Masterful drive there by Brian Hancock. The early stages, they did go a blistering first quarter. And we did have, of course, one of the local hopes, DB Bopper, did not want to hand up the lead to Brian Hancock. So Hancock restrained on Courage Under Fire to be 1 out, 1 back, and was absolutely travelling throughout the race. Halfway through the event, John Justice sets Shaker Maker alight and tried to get on the back of Courage Under Fire, but a few of them kicked up inside of him. He was trapped 3 wide, but it was going to be a race between the 2 champions as they did will for home, and Courage Under Fire with a slightly easier run, gaining victory 2 even, 110. Shaker Maker second, 140. Rare Fuel was third at $9.90. Battle of the Heavyweights, Quinella 140, trifecta. It returned at $65. Naturally, they're approximate totes. We'll be back to the Gold Coast with more shortly. Now the 10th out at Warragul, Lady Sparkles 160, 980. Clocker Watsy, and we've got a previous event at the Gold Coast. What a boiler of a race there. Let's pick up the concluding stages as we go to a break here on Sky Racing.
I'll be right there.
Races last season, including the South Australian Cup, where you were kind enough to accept a trophy for me. But the final of the Inter-Dominion, that was just an unbelievable run. And tonight was probably only about 90% of that run, but it was still good enough on the night.
Last season, Greg, his form did fall away, but his first up run here in Queensland, I think, was the one that really knocked him about.
It was a little bit of a gut buster. Didn't help the other horse either, but it was a learning curve. Brian had to get to know the horse, and we both had to try and realise what was probably good at 2 and 3, didn't necessarily work out at 5, and now particularly at 6. Different training requirements, and he just needs a lot more work.
For 50 metres there, I don't think I've seen a horse go quicker. He just came out of the 1-1, went whoosh straight to the chair. Geez, he moved quick.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed myself.
I was on fire, and a horse like Shaker Maker, who we know has dazzling speed, for half a stride couldn't sort of keep up with him.
Yes, but this horse has run some unbelievable sections throughout his career, and it really didn't surprise me. But plus, that in defence of Shaker, he had to do a little bit to get there. So you know, well, it was good, but you know.
Looking forward to the rematch.
Oh, definitely. It's great to see 2 champion horses clash like this. Fantastic for the industry, and it's a bit of a bloody worry for the owners, though.
The race you most want to win this season, which is it?
Oh, there's only 2 races I've ever wanted to win, and that's the Miracle Mile and the Inter-Dominion.
Oh, that's a surprise.
Yeah, I don't know whether this bloke is. This bloke's a Miracle Mile horse, and that little 3-year-old I got in New Zealand, he's the Inter-Dominion one.
All right, well, you've got another trophy. I don't know where you have the room to put them all, but well done anyway.
Well managed.
No doubt. Greg Brody there, who is the owner of the great Courage Under Fire. Look, I've only briefly spoken to John Justice. He was by no means disappointed. How could he be? He was 3 wide from the 1200. It's not really Shaker Maker's go. And he expects him to be fitter for the rematch. So certainly the Albion Park race in 10 days' time is looming large as a great contest. And don't be surprised if a few Southerners make the trip up for that race in 10 days' time.
Okay, Sam, thanks for your help out at the Gold Coast this evening. I'm sure we'll catch up with you again shortly, but that was a